Welcome. So I am back from Paris and this is going to be a vlog. Luckily, my mom did a lot of filming for me. I do want to apologize for the shakiness sometimes of the camera of the vlog because I don't really have that good of a camera and it was difficult to shoot without trembling. But anyway, I want to start this video by showing you what I gifted myself during my stay. I never buy anything here in Belgium. I never go out shopping. And so when I visit other countries and other stores outside of my own city, whenever I see something, I just get it for myself. Because for me, with my specific taste, it is so difficult to find items in stores. And so I have to always look up specific stores. And I did so for Paris. So there were bookstores that I looked up beforehand and I have everything stored here. So we have books, we have products, we have stationery, and we have artsy things. So first of all, what I got in the museums, I always like to get some postcards whenever I visit, and I always get them from paintings that I really loved, and this is one of the postcards that I got. It's Madame Rimsky-Korsakov, painted by Franz Xavier Winterhalter. And the second one I got was, of course, one of Notre Dame. And this one is called La Seine et Notre Dame de Paris, vue du quai des Grands Augustins avec le pont Saint-Michel. What a title. And it was painted by Johann Barthold Youngkind. So those were my two postcards. And I also got some boxes and they're filled with mints, but I'm not really interested in the mints. I'm interested in the boxes and reusing them for like earplugs or supplements. And they have these paintings on the cover, which I really like. There we go. As for stationery, so I visited a store called L'Écritoire. I will link it on the screen, and it is such a beautiful stationery shop. And I was hoping to find a pen there, a dip pen, and I got lucky and I did find one. So let me show you the dip pen. It's so beautiful, and it came with 4 nibs. There's one normal nib to write normally with, and then the other ones are calligraphy nibs, and I'm so excited. And I also got this holder to put it in, and it's so beautiful. This is it. I'm so happy. Like, I've been looking for such a pen for a long time, and I'm glad that I found it in Paris because now it's extra special. Okay, let's go to the books. So one of the bookstores was in this beautiful gallery, and I will link the name of the bookstore here if you would ever be interested in visiting Paris. But the first ones that I got were 2 volumes of Émile Zola, which is called L'Argent, and this is part of a bigger series. I don't think that it is important to read them in order. You can read all the Zolas like a standalone, but I do think that I'm going to go in order. But anyway, I couldn't leave these. They were €4 a piece. And then I also got La Reine Margot by Alexandre Dumas. And these were heavily damaged, but also €4 a piece. And I just couldn't leave them because they're really beautiful. These 2 volumes can also be read as a standalone, and I'm very happy with them. Then I went to another bookstore and I picked up The Toilers of the Sea by Victor Hugo. This was such a great find to me because, let me show you, I already had an edition, of course, of Toilers of the Sea by Hugo. But look at this edition. It is super tiny, and there are 2 rows next to each other, so it's such a chore to read. And I always said whenever I find another edition that I will gift it to myself. So I do have all of the works of Hugo, but now I have a second edition. But now I have a second edition of Toilers of the Sea, and the best part is that it comes with illustrations by Hugo himself. Let me show you. And even better, it's another translation that I already have, and it comes with an introduction by Graham Robb. And Graham Robb is the author of a biography of Victor Hugo that I've read and enjoyed. So the bookstore is called the Abbey Bookshop. Then I went to Shakespeare and Company. It was quite calm. And I got myself The Hunchback of Notre Dame, my, I don't know, 15th edition or something. But I had to get this for myself because you can only buy this edition at Shakespeare and Company. So yeah, and the cover is super soft. I really like the edition. And it's also a translation that I don't really know. It's translated and edited by John Sturrock. They also asked if I wanted a stamp in my novel, and of course I got one. The second book that I got myself at Shakespeare and Company is North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. This is a novel that I have been meaning to read for a very long time. And when I saw it, I thought, you know, let's pick it up. It's time. So I still need to take off the sticker. I hate stickers. There you go. And then there's one book that I want to show you that my mom actually got and that I will also read, of course. So we visited the place where Marie Antoinette was imprisoned before she got executed. And this is a book about her style, and it is such a beautiful edition. Look at this. It's so beautiful. And it has amazing artworks in it. There's actually a lot of artwork in there. So yeah, this is going to be really interesting to go through. Those were the books. I have saved the beauty products for last because I know a lot of you won't be interested in this, so you can just skip this final part and move to the blog. It's only 2 products, and I visited Panier d'Essence. So this is a hand cream, and it is not tested on animals, which I find very important. And I've been meaning to try their brand for such a long time, but there aren't any stores in Belgium, I think. And so I thought I'll just check them out and smell everything so I can order them online in the future. So this is a hand cream, and the smell is Blooming Iris. It smells so good and so natural. I love their packaging as well. It's so simple and yet old. It feels like antique and old. And then I also got myself a lip cream because I have a colored one and I have an SPF one for outside, but I needed a new one for at night before I go to bed, because when you put on lip cream before you go to bed, you wake up with the softest lips ever. So this is the lip cream with the honey, and this is the packaging. It is so beautiful, and I already used it. So I will now take you to Paris, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so this was on the train, and I was, of course, reading Les Misérables. And I was also listening to the audiobook of Notre Dame de Paris. It's only an hour and a half until I'm in Paris, and it was really hard when I came up from the subway to hold back my tears. I was so happy. Look at that view. And the sun and the weather was so beautiful. So on the first day we went to the Pantheon, and this is a place where all the people that were important for the country of Paris are buried. And so you find Victor Hugo, you find Alexandre Dumas, Madame Curie, a lot of important names, and the building is just so stunning. It was the second time that I visited, and every time it is just wonderful to be there and to look at the paintings and the architecture. It's just amazing. There's a lot of art concerning the French Revolution, so the statues that you see are related to the French Revolution. And so we have Hugo, we have Dumas, we have Voltaire, Rousseau, all kinds of important authors of France. And then from the entrance of the Pantheon you can see the Eiffel Tower. These were the halls, and we were like alone at a certain moment, and it was not that busy actually. And this is the shop where you can of course find a lot of books. There were pens and letters and everything. Then we went for lunch and we ate it at a bench in the sunlight at the Pantheon. Here's a statue of Pierre Corneille. And this is also a church that is so beautiful inside. Then I went to the first bookshop in Paris, which is called Librairie Vigne. I didn't buy anything, but I loved browsing through the books, and there was a lot of Hugo. Then we went to the Jardin des Plantes, and this is such a beautiful garden to just walk around in. There's a lot of buildings that they used for giving lectures in the Victorian era and before. As you can see, they're just absolutely stunning, and the weather was just perfect. So we spent like an hour there, sat on a bench, walked around, and it was lovely. Then we visited the cathedral, which has been rebuilt since the fire of 2019. And here you see the bouquinists of Paris. These are just shops along the Seine. They're so cozy, they have a lot of books. And then we have the Abbey Bookshop. This is where I was holding my edition of Toilers of the Sea by Hugo. And yeah, that's where I bought my edition. It is such a beautiful bookshop. It has loads of books in there. As you can see, they were all stacked. And the rows were so small. I could barely fit in between the rows of books. It looks a bit wider on camera than it actually is, but I could barely fit in between the rows. So yeah, I was looking for more books to purchase, but I ended up just buying one. Then we have the view of the Seine River and some buildings. And we came across an accordionist, so let's hear it. Then some more bouquinists. They have a lot of souvenirs and books and old newspapers and prints from Paris, also very old books. Then we went to Shakespeare & Co., but you aren't allowed to film in there. Next was Musée d'Orsay, lots of statues, beautiful paintings and so on. I really loved it. This was on our way to the museum, and yeah, the building itself is also really beautiful. It wasn't too busy like the Louvre, which is always so crowded that you barely can step forward. But as you can see here, there weren't too many crowds, and it was comfortable walking and looking at the paintings. There were also several busts of Victor Hugo. There were a lot of paintings about war and Napoleon. Then we went on our way to the next free museum, which is called Le Petit Palais. And this is completely free to enter, and it has such a beautiful garden inside where you can enjoy a coffee or a lunch. So yeah, we walked around. There were barely other people, as you can see, and it was really comfortable walking as well. So this is this beautiful garden with a beautiful building, and the ceiling was painted, just wonderful. And so then we enjoyed lunch outside nearby the opera house, because our next visit was the opera house. There were little birds, so cute. And yeah, we enjoyed the weather and the food. And then we went on our way to the Opéra Garnier. And this is the opera house that inspired Gaston Leroux to write his novel, The Phantom of the Opera. It is a stunning building, but as you can see, it was way too crowded for my taste, which kind of ruined the experience a little bit, I don't know. But this was with an audio guide, which wasn't that great either, but it did lead us to the box of The Phantom of the Opera, which is box number 5, reserved for the Phantom. Then we had coffee or tea, and then we went and visited the Louvre, not inside, but just, the square before it, because it's so beautiful, and we passed by. And then next, I had the Librairie Jussom, and there I bought several books, as you could see from the intro of my video. And the owner is so, so kind, so sweet. And yes, I'm glad that I found some books there. Our next stop was Saint-Chapelle and the Conciergerie. And this chapel has the biggest collection of stained glass in Europe. So we climbed the stairs, and there it was, all the stained glass, the chapel. Very, very beautiful. After this, we visited the Conciergerie, which is a place where Marie Antoinette was held prisoner before she got executed. And so here we could see the cells where people were held, and in this particular cell there were 7 people in there. And here we see some furniture and decoration that Marie Antoinette kept in her cell. In this room you can find the names of the people who were convicted or executed by the guillotine. This was her cell where she stayed. Then we went to the Notre Dame Cathedral, and we actually went inside. It is beautiful, renovated, and everything is white and clean. And then we went to this stationery store, which is called Melody Graphique. They have paper, they have wrappings, they have pens, everything that your stationery heart desires. I didn't buy anything, but I really enjoyed visiting the store. Then we went to another free museum, which is called Musée Carnavalet. It was so quiet inside. There weren't many people, which I don't understand because everyone is going to the Louvre where, you know, it's super crowded, but this was another experience entirely. There were so many beautiful artworks as well, beautifully decorated rooms, staircases, you know, everything that you expect to be in a French museum is there. My favorite visit of this vacation was, of course, Maison Victor Hugo. This is the place where he lived, and it is filled with artworks from his novels, his own artworks, and I especially love this painting of Notre Dame de Paris that I filmed. And it is just a lovely place to visit. The audio guide is fantastic. It's not that big, but it's certainly worth a visit. It also has a garden where you can drink something or have a piece of cake. I especially love seeing his notes with his handwriting. Our next stop was L'Écritoire, and this is where I bought my dip pen. This is a wonderful and very small stationery shop, which is certainly worth a visit when you are visiting Paris. So yeah, this is the place where I got myself a dip pen. And so this was our final night where we just strolled around a bit, and then our final morning we went and visited Notre Dame for the final time. We sat on a bench and we just enjoyed the view. I hope you enjoyed this Paris vlog, and I hope to see you next week.